Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live. I'm James Bagger, I'm the founder of Car Dealer magazine, and today I'm delighted to be chatting to the Managing Director of Nissan GB, Andrew Humberstone. Andrew, good morning, how are you?
Good morning, I'm fine, thank you very much, James, and yourself?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Now, just a quick introduction for you. Andrew was previously Chief Executive and MD for FCA from 2007 to 2012. He then headed up international operations for the same brand in the EMEA region for a year. After a 6-year hiatus working in Saudi Arabia, he joined Nissan in 2019 in a management role in Europe before getting the Vice President and Managing Director role here in the UK. Now, Andrew took over last year, and it's been somewhat of a turbulent first 12 months for the industry. So, Andrew, as we head towards dealers reopening on April the 12th, when you look back at the last 12 months, what will be your lasting memory of business during the pandemic?
Wow, yeah, it was a baptism of fire, to say the least. You know, as you said, I joined back in January. I was not even 2.5 months in, just halfway through the month of March. And of course, COVID hit, and then we had our first lockdown. You know, we were busy preparing our 100-day strategy document, and immediately had to revert to crisis management mode. But, you know, it's been a very interesting year, working very closely with the dealer network, getting to know the team in the UK as well. But yes, absolutely challenging times. But, you know, I think we've used the time wisely. You know, we've been able to streamline our operations. The dealer network has done a lot in terms of their revenue and productivity strategies as well. We've seen a significant improvement of dealer profitability, and we're in a position now where we're launching, you know, effectively the right cars at the right time, I would say.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge for Nissan UK in particular during this crisis? I mean, well documented how dealers have been affected, but we haven't really covered quite so carefully what's been happening at head offices. I mean, what was the big challenge for Nissan UK?
Well, I think it was about anticipating the curve. It's about agility. And I think for a lot of OEMs, that's one of the biggest challenges they would have faced. For Nissan, fortunately, we're a very agile company. So we've been able to respond very quickly to the needs of the network. And, you know, I'm very passionate about what is our sense of purpose, specifically as an RBU or as an NSC. And, you know, our purpose very simply is to serve our network, who we consider our customers, as well as our customers as in the retail, as in the consumer who buys the product. And, you know, we do that in a number of ways in terms of how we invest in our shop online business, how we drive leads and the quality of leads that we drive to the dealer network, and how we support them during these challenging times, and how we supported them in terms of their stock and also financially. So, you know, these were the biggest challenges that we had to face and overcome, and do that with speed. And this was, for me, the most critical thing.
What sort of support have you been able to give dealers during this third lockdown?
Well, in the third lockdown, our support has been across a number of areas. We've looked at how we can support them in terms of dealer stocking, in terms of product availability. I think one of the key things that we've been looking at is model mix. We've seen an interesting shift in terms of used cars with regards to where the residual values have been setting and how we can support them in this area. So I think there's a number of key areas that we've focused on. But overall, we've seen a significant improvement in the dealer's profitability, up to 1.5% return on sale. In fact, in February, it was 1.6%. So almost double that of the national average.
Yeah, impressive numbers there. Have you been surprised by how dealers have managed to cope with this third lockdown? We're reporting this morning news from CAP HPI saying that actually dealers are trading at near 90% of normal levels so far in March. I mean, obviously we're last day of March today. What do you think? What have been your thoughts on how dealers have performed, and has it taken you by surprise?
Well, I think we're blessed. We have a very, very competent dealer network, and they've had to adapt to the changing times. And I think, you know, what we're finding is we're seeing a blended retail model, so to speak, or a type of a hybrid retail model developing. And that's really weighted by, I think, the mix between digital and physical. And you've seen how, despite the lockdowns, consumers have moved to a more omni-channel type of solution. It's been very challenging in terms of not being able to do test drives. But what we've seen is also a shift in consumer behavior towards these things. And I think what is particularly interesting to me is how consumers have changed their behavior and how the dealer network has been able to adapt to that. It's not just about online technology. It goes way beyond that, in my opinion.
Yeah, certainly a lot of confidence in the car buying journey when it comes to online. The fact that many customers have done it purely remotely has been pretty amazing. What are your thoughts on targets during this difficult time? Have you been imposing targets on your Nissan dealers, and do you think that's the right thing to do?
Yeah, I believe it is the right thing to do. There are times when you've had to guarantee targets. There's times when we've obviously adapted and we've looked at what other OEMs have done, and we've also obviously looked at what the market conditions were. But I think, removing a target in its entirety is probably not a good thing. It's there to give us a sense of direction, a sense of purpose. We still need to drive the business forward. But we were very flexible with these things, and we were very reasonable. We had a huge amount of dialogue with our dealer association and with our network in how we could best work on these things together. At the end of the day, they're meant to be a source of encouragement, not a deterrent. So it was something that whilst we believe in it, we were also very flexible.
And will you ever introduce an agency sales model for Nissan in the UK?
It's really an interesting one. It's not on our agenda today. I know a lot of OEMs are looking at this. I think, if we look at where the retail model is going, the total cost of distribution is a key thing for us all to look at. We're all considering this. The retail model is arguably over 100 years old. Excuse me. I definitely see more consolidation out there. There's an increasing use in technology. Scale is by definition important. You're seeing new entries coming into this particular space, and there's lots of reshaping and reframing going on. But this doesn't necessarily equate to changing the way we finance the network and or support the network. There may be opportunities in the future, but realistically, I think there's many ways to skin a cat. This may be one of the elements that are adopted by some of the RBUs.
I mean, there are some of the dealers that I've been speaking to, Andrew, who are actually quite keen on an agency sales model.
Yeah, I think that there are definitely advantages. I think you'll find a lot of people are for it and a lot of people are against it. I think the key thing is we need to have a commercially viable business case. And again, coming back to our sense of purpose, we're here to serve a dealer network and to serve a consumer. If it works for the dealer network, then it's something, of course, that one can consider. We as an OEM obviously have to look at our total cost of distribution, and we need to make that as cost effective as possible. And if that means an agency fee model is something that can work, it's something we would consider, but it's not something that's on our agenda today. At the moment, we're looking at, post-Brexit, post-COVID, introduction of new products. We've just been out with Duke. We're coming up with the new Qashqai. We've got new Aria coming, a plethora of new products coming over the next 2 to 3 years. We're in a very good place. So we'd rather have our dealers focusing on investing in their online technology, investing in their people, and working with us in the spirit of partnership to develop that.
What are your thoughts, Andrew, on multi-franchising? There are a number of brands out there that are investigating this. A recent interview I did with Robert Forrester at Virtue said he thinks it's one of the things that's going to be supercharged over the next few years. Are there any brands you would not be comfortable with sharing showroom space with?
Yeah, again, that's a very interesting one. I think depending on whether you look at premium versus volume brands, we're at a stage of evolution in our brand, moving into a more premium position. We want to be more about volume, or rather value over volume. And this is an important part of our long-term strategy with our EV and electrification strategy. So do I see that? I think in the premium space, I think it would be quite difficult and probably harder to implement. I think there are certainly within some of the bigger groups, you might find those type of alliances. Do I see it with us? Certainly not at this particular stage, but again, with consolidation as we see it, I can't predict the future. But I think there's a lot to be said about a brand identity, and we invest millions and millions in developing a brand, and people have an association with the brand.
It sounds like it's not an outright no. If a dealer partner comes to you and says they want to put Nissan with another brand, it sounds like it's something you may consider.
It's not a matter of a yes or a no per se. It's about saying, what is the business case and does it work? Our policy is that we wouldn't entertain it at this particular stage, but we're also commercial people. We also recognize that the business model is changing. We also realize that we have to be agile and serve and support a dealer network. And depending on the territory, depending on the location, depending on that business case, of course, these are things that any commercially astute executive would consider.
Question here from one of our readers. We turn the new year with a Brexit deal in the bag, something that Nissan had long thought as being pretty disastrous for manufacturing here in the UK. Are you glad Brexit is behind us and we can move on?
Yeah, I think Nissan welcomes the agreement and that was reached between the UK and the EU. I think we look forward to the continued success of the UK-based design and engineering and manufacturing operations that we have, which were serving Europe for over 30 years from our point of view. So, we're very glad that there's been a quantum leap forward in getting this behind us, so we can really focus on the future of building new products at Sunderland. We have a great built in Britain message, and it's something we want to communicate and share with the British public.
How important is that for Nissan when it comes to selling cars in the UK to have some of them built here?
I think it's important. I think you've got a significant portion of the population that are very passionate about that, and I think it's understandable. And it certainly it supports us. It's certainly not something that hinders us. That's for sure. And I think it's great that customers know that vehicles are manufactured in Sunderland, and that we can take care of the quality and the design of the product here locally.
And with April the 12th just around the corner, you look at the market with a slightly different end of the funnel to dealers. What do you see at a manufacturer level, and does it help give them confidence that there will be pent-up demand?
Yeah, I think there is a degree of pent-up demand. I think for sure, if we look at a number of elements here, I think you've seen a significant shift to obviously online sales. If we look at our penetration across most of the sectors, we've seen this almost in arguably every vertical, in every type of retail operation that's out there. And I think if we look at the speed of the evolution of technology, and certainly online technology, we're seeing an accelerant of anywhere between 5 to 7 years. And we see this even with online learning at universities and things like that having changed. But I think what's changing is the consumer buying behavior and how they, engage in the entire retail journey at every touch point. And, we've had a number of things that have helped us in this with the 14-day distance selling regulations. I think in terms of March specifically and April, a significant volume of our product is financed on PCP. People that are looking to change at the end of their natural life cycle obviously wanted to change in March along with the number plate. We've seen the TIV consistently down over the last months. So far, we're looking at 19% down versus last year this month. And it's an interesting one. I think April, pent-up demand with people being able to do new test drives. I think that's an interesting element as well. A lot of people were okay to purchase without a test drive. On the other hand, what we've seen is, I think, in the case of conquest customers, more and more of those are inclined to want to have a test drive, especially if they're shifting between one brands and two potentially powertrains. And I think also thirdly, between ICE and EV, I think, you know, us being particularly dominant in the electric vehicle space, this is something that we recognize as well. But yeah, I think those are the key things that are influencing where we are in terms of March and April.
Yeah, let's hope there's some of that pent-up demands there. Yeah. With the Colt car company deciding that they no longer wanted to import Mitsubishis and considering Nissan's alliance partnership with that brand, was there any consideration whatsoever of taking over the importing of Mitsubishi models?
No, this is not something I can really comment on at this particular stage.
Okay, fair enough. No worries. What about the biggest opportunities for dealers, Andrew? We're in over the next year. I mean, they've had a very turbulent time over the last 12 months, and then they need to be looking forward to something. What do you think those opportunities are?
Yeah, I think there's a number of opportunities. I think, you know, we at Nissan are arguably in a fantastic space. We've had, you know, significant organizational redesign. We've gone through a lot of change processes. Here in the UK, we've done the same. We've used the lockdown period wisely, the last 12 months wisely, efficiently in terms of training, in terms of job rotations and things like that, working with our dealer network, working on our strategy document. We've got some amazing new products about to be launched, and we're fortunate that it's not one product, it's not two products, but it's 3, 4, 5, 6 products, all coming out almost back to back to back to back. You know, I would say to the dealer network, you know, invest in your online technology, because as I say, I think you're seeing a blended retail model going forward, a type of a hybrid. So I think, you know, you're definitely going to see more and more customers leveraging and working through this omni-channel, and you need to be ready for that, or dare I say more ready. I think this will continue to evolve and expand. I don't think we're just going to revert back to type. I think there will be hopefully some movement forward into a hybrid version. And I think on the back of all of the new products we've got, we're in a fantastic space.
And finally, Andrew, apart from a holiday, what are you most looking forward to over the next 12 months?
Oh gosh, I think socializing, meeting people, being able to, you know, I don't know if we'll be allowed to shake hands, but certainly, you know, that's my management style. I've always been one of these people that walk around the office, meet people, have a chat with all of my employees. I got to a point where I knew most of my team by name and even their families. And now I'm in a situation where everything's been done by video conference, everything's been done online, and I get the feeling that they all know everything about me and I know very little about them. So, but it's been great. It's been an interesting experience. But I think to answer you directly, I think, yeah, that people interaction for me is critical, and I think it goes a long way to building and supporting a team.
Andrew, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you today. Thank you very much for giving up some of your precious time, and I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you so much. I look forward to doing it again sometime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you. Okay, huge thanks to Andrew Humberstone there from Nissan GB. So for more car dealer lives like this one, you can log on to cardealermagazine.co.uk and click on the live tab at the top of the page. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.